Twisted Fairy Tales. The dark truth behind the Wizard of Oz. You remember the Wizard of Oz as a Technicolor dream. Ruby slippers, yellow brick roads, and a girl who only wanted to go home. But what if Oz was never a paradise? What if every step Dorothy took pulled her deeper into something she could never escape? Welcome to Twisted Fairy Tales, the dark truth behind Disney, where childhood magic fractures into unsettling truths with whims and whispers. The premise twist. You grew up believing The Wizard of Oz was a story of hope, of friendship, courage, and home. A girl lost in a strange land, fighting witches and returning safely by clicking her heels. But what if that was never the point? What if Dorothy's journey wasn't about finding her way back at all, but about never leaving Oz to begin with? Beneath its cheerful music and fantastical imagery, The Wizard of Oz hides a story of trauma, fractured reality, and power struggles masked as fairy tales. Was the tornado real, or was it the catalyst for a psychological break? Was Oz a kingdom of wonder, or a hallucination stitched together from Dorothy's fears, grief, and suppressed desires? The film whispers of darker truths: witches who embody control and suppression, companions who feel less like friends and more like fragments of Dorothy's own mind, and a wizard whose very power is revealed to be an illusion. The beloved film may not be a triumph of childlike wonder. Instead, it could be one of cinema's earliest warnings: that home is not always a place, and the journey back may be impossible. So tonight, let's peel back the emerald curtain, brick by brick, and uncover the dark truth behind The Wizard of Oz. The surface story everyone knows. On the surface, The Wizard of Oz feels innocent, almost comforting. Dorothy Gale, a farm girl from Kansas, is swept away by a tornado into a magical land. There she meets the Scarecrow who longs for a brain, the Tin Man who craves a heart, and the Cowardly Lion who seeks courage. Together, they journey along the yellow brick road toward the Emerald City, hoping the mysterious Wizard of Oz can grant their wishes. Along the way, Dorothy faces the Wicked Witch of the West, who seeks vengeance for her sister's death. With the help of her companions and a pair of enchanted ruby slippers, Dorothy defeats the witch. She eventually learns that she had the power to return home all along. The film ends in a bittersweet sigh of relief. Dorothy wakes in Kansas, surrounded by loved ones. "There's no place like home," she whispers, safe again in the world she belongs. That's the version you remember? The one we've been told is about friendship, courage, and the strength of home. But if you look closer, shadows creep through the Technicolor glow. Dorothy's companions might not be strangers at all. The wizard is not who he claims to be, and her return to Kansas may not be the happy ending it appears. Because if Oz was only a dream, then why does it feel like Dorothy never truly left? The first unsettling detail. The first unsettling detail is the tornado. It doesn't just carry Dorothy away, it tears her life apart. Storms are often symbols of chaos and transformation, but in The Wizard of Oz, the tornado does something stranger. It doesn't simply take Dorothy to another land. It replaces her world with fragments of it. Farmhands become companions. Neighbors transform into witches. Even the wizard himself feels like a distorted echo of authority figures from her real life. This raises a chilling question. Did Dorothy really leave Kansas, or did she fracture into a place constructed entirely from her own subconscious? Notice how the land of Oz constantly threatens her. Even moments of wonder, the shimmering Emerald City, the poppy fields, are tinged with danger. Her friends, too, seem incomplete. The Scarecrow has no brain. The Tin Man has no heart. The Lion has no courage. They are all missing pieces, as though Dorothy herself is splintered, and these companions are manifestations of what she feels she lacks. The unsettling truth is that Oz doesn't behave like a real place. It behaves like a prison built from memory, grief, and repression. Dorothy isn't traveling toward freedom. She's trapped inside her own mind. And the wizard, the great figure she is told will set her free. He turns out to be a fraud, a man behind a curtain offering hollow promises. Perhaps he is the final echo of Dorothy's own despair, the realization that no one is coming to save her. Which leaves us with a terrifying thought. If the wizard is an illusion, what about Kansas? The hidden lore. Behind the Wizard of Oz lies a tangled web of folklore, politics, and cultural symbolism, roots that make the story far darker than it first appears. The original 1900 novel by L. Frank Baum was not intended as mere children's fantasy. Scholars have long debated its deeper meaning, interpreting Oz as an allegory for American society at the turn of the century. The yellow brick road, a symbol of the gold standard. Emerald City, a world where everything looks valuable but is an illusion. Green-tinted glasses forcing citizens to see wealth where none exists. Even Dorothy's silver shoes in the novel, changed to ruby slippers for film, echoed debates about silver coinage and power. But myth runs deeper still. In many cultures, storms represent not salvation, but punishment. To be swept into a whirlwind is to be carried between worlds, sometimes into madness, sometimes into death. Dorothy's arrival in Oz, then, can be seen as a symbolic death of the Kansas self, and a rebirth into a dangerous underworld. Witches, too, are not simply villains. They are ancient figures of female power, feared and demonized. The Wicked Witch of the West, with her fiery threats and command of winged monkeys, embodies more than cruelty. She is the shadow of Dorothy's own rage and suppressed fear. Meanwhile, Glinda, the Good Witch, is no less unsettling. Notice how Glinda withholds the truth, that Dorothy could return home at any moment, until the very end. Why? Was it truly kindness or manipulation to keep Dorothy playing her part in Oz? Even the companions carry symbolic weight. The Scarecrow echoes European harvest effigies, symbols of sacrifice and death. The Tin Man, once human, is hollowed out and mechanized, a warning of losing one's soul to progress. The lion, supposedly king of beasts, is reduced to trembling submission. When viewed through myth and history, Oz ceases to be a child's paradise. It becomes a labyrinth of illusions, trials, and suppressed truths, a place where Dorothy is less a guest and more a sacrifice. The psychological breakdown. Dorothy is not just lost in Oz, she is unraveling. From the very beginning, her life in Kansas is defined by neglect. She sings of a place somewhere over the rainbow, not because she longs for magic, but because she longs for escape. The farm is gray, barren, suffocating. The tornado doesn't rescue her, it fractures her. Once in Oz, every relationship mirrors her loneliness. The Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion appear loyal, but they are all broken in ways that reflect Dorothy's insecurities. No brain, no heart, no courage. In reality, Dorothy feels unintelligent, unloved, and powerless. Her companions are not friends, they are coping mechanisms. The Wicked Witch becomes more than a villain. She is the embodiment of Dorothy's guilt. After all, Dorothy killed her sister. Even if by accident, that stain follows her. The witch's threats are not merely external. They are Dorothy's subconscious punishing her, whispering, "You destroyed a life. You don't deserve to go home." By the time she meets the wizard, Dorothy is desperate for someone, anyone, to give her meaning. Instead, she discovers the horrifying truth. The wizard is powerless, a sham. No authority figure can save her. This moment is not triumph. It is despair. Dorothy realizes she is alone, trapped in a world of her own making, with no answers. Clicking her heels together is not an act of empowerment. It is a last resort, a desperate attempt to wake from the nightmare. But even when she opens her eyes in Kansas, the haunting remains. She whispers that she never truly left, because deep down, she knows the truth. Oz wasn't a dream, it was a breakdown. Symbolism in their transformation. One of the most chilling symbols in The Wizard of Oz is Dorothy's transformation through the ruby slippers. From the moment she puts them on, she is marked. The slippers are not gifts, they are curses. They attract danger, chain her fate, and make her the target of the witch's wrath. Dorothy cannot remove them. She cannot escape them. They fuse with her identity, forcing her deeper into Oz. The yellow brick road, too, is not a path of salvation. It is linear, narrow, and unyielding. It demands obedience. Dorothy is not free to wander. She is forced to follow a golden path laid out for her, step by step, toward a false salvation. The Emerald City, shimmering in the distance, represents hope. Yet when she arrives, it is hollow, built on lies and smoke. The wizard is revealed as powerless, and the Emerald City becomes a prison of glass, beautiful but empty. Dorothy's companions also symbolize transformation, but not theirs, hers. Each one reflects a fractured part of Dorothy's psyche. As they grow braver, kinder, or wiser, Dorothy believes she is healing, but in truth, she is externalizing her trauma. Her journey isn't about discovery, it's about survival. And when she sings, when she clings to the idea of home, it isn't triumph, it's surrender. She is convincing herself of something she no longer fully believes. Because the moment she clicks her heels, she doesn't just return to Kansas. She erases Oz. She erases the parts of herself she cannot face. And what's more terrifying than becoming whole is becoming hollow. The ending. We misunderstood. The ending of The Wizard of Oz has long been seen as triumphant. Dorothy wakes in Kansas, surrounded by familiar faces. She insists it was all a dream, yet her eyes glisten with something unsaid. But listen closely. She never actually confirms it was only a dream. She insists, there's no place like home. But is that relief or desperation? Notice, too, how nothing has changed. The farm is still bleak. Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are still distracted. Dorothy has gained no new freedom. Instead, she seems almost hollow, clinging to the idea that home is enough. What if this is not closure at all, but suppression? Dorothy has buried Oz deep within herself, along with the guilt, the fear, and the fragments of her psyche that manifested there. In that sense, the story doesn't end with Dorothy leaving Oz. It ends with Oz consuming her, forcing her into silence. The journey wasn't a fantasy. It was a fracture. And the final act is not her return, but her refusal to ever speak of it again. The final truth. Dorothy Gale was never the innocent farm girl we thought she was. She was the warning hidden in plain sight. Her tornado wasn't adventure, it was rupture. Her friends weren't companions, they were shattered reflections. And Oz was never a dream. It was the truth she could never admit. The next time you hear her whisper, "There's no place like home," don't take comfort, take caution. Because what she truly meant was, there's no escaping what's inside your own mind. And sometimes the place you call home is the scariest world of all. Thank you for walking with us through the shadows of The Wizard of Oz. If this changed the way you see Dorothy's journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us uncover more secrets buried beneath the stories you thought you knew. And tell us, which Disney legend or childhood tale should we unravel next? Until then, be careful which stories you believe. Because behind every fairy tale, there's a truth waiting to escape.